This is my setup for throwing lines when we come into a lock. 1/3 for the boat, 1/3 for me to throw, and 1/3 for me to keep in my hand. That will usually ensure that I can throw the middle section, even when it's a tall lock like the one we're coming into, and loop the bollard up at the top. Looks like what?
Yeah.
Oh, the water is so low. Yikes. Narrow and allergenic.
The chart didn't say this.
No, it didn't. I can't believe this isn't a one-way. Deadhead log, straight ahead. Both sides. No problemo. Look at all the water line levels.
The chart says that the lock's before that bridge.
Even the ledge is sticking out. All right, we're coming up to our first downhill lock. We've made it over the watershed divide. We're heading downhill.
This is the western side of the Canal de Vosges. We have gone up over the summit and we are coming back down the other side. And I want to show you the condition here. The water level doesn't look too bad, but it is actually much reduced. If you see the pilings there, they are quite rotten, and the water level should be above the rotten spot. Makes me wonder if the VNF is actually reducing the water level to get to metal that is not rotten, and then why does it rot there? That's the question I kind of have. Well, one reason might be because that's where the wake of the passing boat goes. Now, Relaxed Companion doesn't really throw much of a wake, but you can see that the wake she does throw, it's right in the most rusted spots. So, metal above the rust and the metal, or the metal above the hole and the metal below the hole is more solid than the metal where the wake level is at. It was very shallow at the top yesterday. I was driving, so I don't really have any video of that unless Sarah took some. But this is looking a little better. Let me show you the other side of the boat. Over here, it's just a dirt berm. And you can see that, well, you can see the dirt and you can see where the water level probably should be up to, which is where the grass line is. Again, this is looking more full than not. How low is the
Looking
water?
like 3, now looking like...
Well, there's the gauge on the entrance of the lock. You want it to become in the green. You can see it's well below the green, well below the red. It's down in the black.
Starboard fender, entering at 1 foot off. It's a rainforest. We're moving along from Epinal. We went all the way to Court. That was the top of the waterway. Now the watershed is moving down this way. So we're going downhill, and we're basically still at the top of the mountains though, and it's just so wet. We're in a rainforest.
Since we're in a series of locks that are very close to each other, there's the lock behind me, I decided I would just walk to the next one. And, you know, if I walk a moderate speed, I'll beat the boat there. It's not even out of the lock yet. And that's kind of nice. The towpaths here are always amazing. They're paved, they're well done. The bikers use them a lot. The VNF uses it to service the locks, so it's technically their road. But in practicality, they were used to pull the barges by people power or horsepower back when that was the way it was done. Sorry for my finger. And so now, if you're in a section where the locks are close, it's just nice to walk in the countryside in France and go visit the next lock. They don't really need me up there. Now, if we were going up, the other day we were going up 10 locks, and I had Carla, I was operating the boat, I was captaining it that day. So Carla walked from one to the next, and then she accepted our lines because there was a good ways to toss up. And then she pulled the pull chain, lifted the bar. And so, you know, that's kind of nice for the ground crew, if you will, to do that. But otherwise, it's just nice to walk in between the locks. I suppose the distance I'm walking is less than a kilometer. There in the distance is Relaxed Companion, just now coming out of the lock. And I'm a good distance from her. Just the sound of the birds and my feet. This is my average walking speed. And you can see I'm actually outpacing the boat slightly. But to be fair, he's preparing to go into the lock, so Rick doesn't have the hammer down. He's slowly approaching, but I'm still gaining.
Bows on.
Foxglove. Ooh, Rick just put the hammer down. Okay, we found our camp out spot for the night. It's been a little dodgy because so many of the spots that the chart says are good spots have been overgrown, and with the water so low, we can't even get close to the bank. But this is looking positive.
So a question I had was, what books do we use? What charts do we use? And there are a few manufacturers, but there are none better in my mind than the Editions du Briel. This is a French publisher. They're out of Castelnaudary. This is the Bourgogne-Franche-Comté, which we'll be using in the next couple days. And these charts are quite excellent. They show you everything. You've got French, English, and German. And then what I do is I decant them, if you will, into a plastic notebook like this, and then we use clothespins to mark where we're at. So we have come down here today, and we've been looking at these anchorage spots along the route, and Sarah has been filling in what it says here. Too shallow to moor. That was true. This is 2 boats on a little siding. That's true. This was a long, wide, open moorage. That's true. This was creepy old buildings on hardpoint bollards. That's true too. And so the book doesn't tell you that, and we've never been here, so we're just kind of searching our way along, and we got around this corner and said to Rick, if we don't find something here, then we're going to go back here and pin out because it's getting late. I need a gin and tonic. So anyway, we found this, and let me show you what this looks like. So we are here on the canal, and we've got a fireplace, a picnic table, hard siding, a couple points. You could definitely get 2 to 3 boats into here, and it's really beautiful. It's been raining for the last couple days, and the pine trees are incredibly aromatic. It's going to clear up and become summertime any moment. In fact, I think this is the moment. So this is where we are tonight, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up If you're new here, please consider subscribing. We'll be back in 2 days. Until then, I say a tutelaire and cheers.